Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking every single foundation that I tried in 2022. And I think I tried exactly 22 foundations this year. Let me recount them. 21, 22. Yes, what a coincidence. I tried 22 foundations in 2022 and I'm going to rank them all today from worst to best. For starters, let me tell you about my skin type and what I look for in foundations. I have desert dry skin, as I like to call it, in this whole area of my face right here. And then my forehead is normal, can even get a bit oily in the summertime. But the area that gives me trouble is this area right here, especially right around my mouth area. That is the driest part of my face. And so when foundations aren't hydrating enough for me, this is the area where they show it the most. Besides that, because I have very dry skin, a lot of foundations tend to look cakey on me, so I usually like foundations that are very lightweight. I tend to love the most foundations that are very natural looking and foundations that have a thin consistency to them. I find that thicker foundations just look cakey on my dry skin. I find that a lot of full coverage foundations tend to have a thicker consistency, and so therefore they also look cakey on my dry skin. So I prefer foundations that have a medium coverage, that have a thin consistency, and that are hydrating. Those are my preferences. As far as coverage is concerned, I do tend to like the higher side of medium coverage because I have redness on my face that I like to cover. So that is kind of where my sweet spot is with foundation. Besides that, I talk about a lot of foundations here on my channel that I absolutely love and that I have loved for years that you will not be seeing me mention in today's video, and that is because I am exclusively talking about foundations that I tried in 2022. Some of my favorite foundations I have tried in previous years, and so you won't see me mentioning them today. Anyways, if you're excited for today's video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up before you leave, and let's just go ahead and get started with the worst foundation I tried this year. And the worst foundation I tried this year by far is the Jaclyn Cosmetics Skin Perfecting Blurring Tint. That was quite the show in my opinion. I tried that foundation right at the beginning of the year. We had a lot of really good foundations coming out back then, and that foundation was so disappointing for me. It would not attach to my face properly. It created these random patches. It wasn't even like it was dry or it gave me a little bit of texture. It was like a disaster product. Like, I had patches all over my face. It created a ton of texture. It did not look natural at all whatsoever. It was so bad, I can't even show you the bottle today. I returned it to make a point because it was just not worth it at all, in my opinion. I don't think that anyone liked it, and if anyone said they liked it, check if they're still using it, because I highly doubt it. There's just so many foundations on the market, so many much better skin tints. It was just not a good product at all. Sadly, I had high hopes when I first tried it, and so that is the worst foundation, or in this case skin tint, that I tried this year. The next foundation I also didn't like, and that is this one right here, the One Size Beauty Turn Up the Base foundation. This foundation claims to have a natural to matte finish. It claims to be a blurring foundation, and I did not really love it. This one just did not work for my dry skin. This might work for somebody else. It just didn't work for me at all. I found it to not have coverage, and for how little coverage it had, I found it to be thick, and I found it to be drying and kind of mattifying. Unfortunately, this one did not work for me at all. I used it a couple of times after I first reviewed it, and it was just not a good look. It didn't make my skin look great. It showed pores that I didn't even know existed. So this formula and my skin type just were not a match at all whatsoever. I do, by the way, have videos reviewing every single one of these foundations I'm about to mention that I filmed throughout the year, so I'm going to put in clips of those videos as I talk about them so that you guys can see the symptoms that I am describing. But if you do want to see a more in-depth video as to why these foundations didn't work for me, definitely check out the original review video that I filmed with them so that you can see all of my reasons in more detail. This next one I tried as soon as it came out and I had such high hopes for it, but unfortunately it was also not a match for me. I'm talking about the new Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. This foundation, it just might simply be a little bit too drying for my dry skin. I found that it looked dry and cakey around my mouth area. I found that it separated a little bit, and unfortunately it also kind of looked thick and cakey on my face. Not a good look. I didn't like the wear test that I did with this one, and so overall just disappointed at this Hourglass foundation. I wonder if it works for people who have oily skin. If you have oily skin, you've tried it and you loved it, let us know down in the comment section. For my dry skin, this was just not it. Besides that, I found that the shades run a little bit on the yellow side, so I couldn't find an exact match. So all of those things, and for some reason I have the worst luck when it comes to Hourglass foundations. I have yet to find an Hourglass foundation that works for me. The closest I've gotten to liking an Hourglass foundation is the Hourglass Stick foundation, but all of their liquid ones just do not work on my skin at all. And even with the stick foundation, I do like the formula, but I haven't found the shade that I love. Anyways, not for me. Okay, I feel like this next one I'm going to get a little bit of heat for, because I have actually seen people online who are claiming this is an amazing foundation, but it just wasn't an amazing foundation for me and my desert dry skin. I'm talking about the Haus Labs foundation. This is the Triclone Skin Tech foundation. I couldn't make a dedicated video to this foundation, but I did include it in a video where I talked about it and my wear test and my experience with it, etc. First of all, I loved the color selection. I could get the perfect match for me, and that was great. But unfortunately, it is just a little bit too dry for me on my skin. It feels a little dry and cakey, and it does not look good around my mouth area. It gives me a little bit of texture. It separates around my mouth area, and it's honestly a shame because I have seen people who have combination skin rave about this foundation, and I can see how glorious it looks on their skin, but on mine, unfortunately, that does not happen. I am just too dry for this one. So if you have super dry skin like I do, the Haus Labs foundation might not be the one for you. Something else I loved about this one besides the color selection was the amazing coverage that it has and the super beautiful bottle. I honestly really wanted this foundation to work for me, but it didn't, and so unfortunately it is at the bottom of my list this year. This next foundation I really thought was going to be amazing when I first got it, and it is another disaster story, unfortunately. The Kosas Revealer Skin Improving Foundation. This has hyaluronic acid in it. It's supposed to be a hydrating, glowy foundation. I just honestly thought it was going to be fantastic for me and my dry skin, but as soon as you put this foundation on, at least on my skin, it separates and it creates texture that shouldn't be there. I do like the bottle of this one, and it's not too expensive of a foundation, but it just wasn't a foundation that looked good on me throughout the day. Besides that, I found that the colors ran a bit too on the yellow side. Like I said, I had high hopes, but it just didn't agree with my skin type, and so I didn't recommend it. I honestly don't think it got the greatest reviews from everyone across the board. Like people who had oily skin, it was too hydrating, and it just didn't quite settle that well with anyone that I know, at least. So if you love it, let us know down in the comment section, but I don't recommend it. This next one was highly anticipated. I had the biggest hopes for this one, okay? And when I tried it, it broke my heart that it did not work for me. And I really wanted this one to work, but unfortunately it was another fail. And I'm talking about the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. It broke my heart because Charlotte Tilbury is one of my absolute favorite brands. I love so many products Charlotte Tilbury makes, but this was a no for me, and let me explain why. I do feel like it has a nice coverage to it and it goes on very smoothly. It has really nice undertones that match a lot of different complexions, but for me it was just a bit too thick, which I could get past. It was a bit too thick, but I could get past that. The main issue was that because it has this glow to it, it basically enhanced every single little pore on my face, and it just didn't look the best on me. It highlighted texture and pores on my face that I didn't want to see. So it broke my heart. What can I say? I do like it combined with another one that I'll talk about next, actually. The 6 foundations I just talked about were the foundations that just didn't work for me at all whatsoever, and so therefore I do not recommend them. Starting from here on, I'm going to get into the batch that I like, but it just isn't my everyday foundation type of a thing, and then I'll tell you once we move on from that batch. So I like for some occasions, but it's just not an everyday foundation for me, and so therefore not my absolute favorite. The next foundation I have to talk about is this one right here, the Rose Ink Skin Enhance Luminous Tinted Serum. I really love the idea of this one, and I really wanted it to work for me, and it almost does. It almost does. The only reason that it's just not something that I'm going to reach for a whole lot is because unfortunately it has sheer coverage to it, and so it doesn't cover my redness in the way that I would want my redness covered. So I kind of have to make accommodations for it, like maybe conceal underneath it or combine it with another foundation in order to make it work best for me. But it does work. It has a beautiful glowy finish. It looks extremely natural on my face. I like the packaging. I like the color. I like a lot of things about this one. It's just not a product that I can use on its own, or if I do use it on its own, it's just not something that I'm going to feel comfortable with every day because it does show my redness. Now, my favorite way to accommodate this Rose Ink skin tint is mixing it with another foundation, because it just gives it a bit more coverage, but it keeps the beautiful natural glow to it. And one foundation that I have found myself combining it a lot with is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation, mainly because this one is thicker and it has a lot of coverage, and this one is thinner and it has not as much coverage, and the two of them combined give me a foundation finish that I do really love. So if you are trying to make these two work, try them together because you'll love them. Otherwise, you can mix this Rose Ink foundation with any other foundation in your collection just to add a bit more coverage to it if you're having the same problem I'm having, and that will make it work fantastic for you. And at the end of the day, it is a beautiful product. Next, we have one from the drugstore that I actually tried very recently and I quite liked, but it's again not an everyday foundation for me, and that is the L'Oreal True Match foundation. This might not have launched this year, but I did try it this year, so I'm putting it in this video. Anyways, the main issue I have with this one as well is that even though it does have a bit more coverage than the Rose Ink foundation I just talked about, it still doesn't fully cover my redness. I still have to make accommodations for it, like using a little bit of extra concealer and whatnot. But overall, it was a nice foundation. I like how thin it is and how natural it looks on my dry skin, plus it doesn't dry me out, so not too bad. And I do see myself reaching for this one. Again, I just have to make sure that I either put a primer with coverage or a little bit of extra concealer on with it. The next foundation on my list is this one right here, which I know a lot of you adore. This is the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation, and this foundation looks beautiful on like 80% of my skin, okay? From here out, this whole section, this foundation looks fantastic on, but unfortunately it does not look great in my driest area, and I can only tell like 3 to 4 hours into wearing it. When I first put it on, it looks amazing, which is why it's ranked a little higher for me, even though it's just not the best foundation for me. It looks so good. It looks so good when I first put it on, but 3 to 4 hours into my wear test, I check around my mouth area and things look textured. It's like it just dries up on this area of my face right here, and so therefore it just can't be one of my favorite foundations. But I love the color of it, I love the texture of it, and I love the way it looks like from here on out. So if your skin is not desert dry like me, if you have normal or combination skin, this might become one of your absolute favorite foundations ever, because it is amazing, just not on my super dry areas. Next, I have another skin tint, one that I really liked, but once again, it's just not a product that I'm going to reach for on a daily basis, and that is this cute little bottle right here from Westman Atelier. I really loved the finish of this one. I love that it adds this super beautiful glowy look to the skin. I like the color that I got it on, and whenever I have worn this product, I do end up loving the result. Now, the accommodations I have to make for this one is there is such thing as too much glow, and this one kind of crosses that line a little bit, so I have to add a little bit of extra powder to it, and I do have to build it up in some areas so that it fully covers my redness, or sometimes combine it with a bit of a concealer on my cheeks as well. Other than that though, I feel like this has a beautiful radiant finish to it, and I just love how natural it looks on my skin. So yeah, I do recommend it, especially if you don't need a lot of coverage. Okay, my next one is also a skin tint, and this one is a bit higher because it is a skin tint that does give me enough coverage to at least cover my redness. And that is this one right here from Say Beauty. This is the Say Beauty Slip Tint. First of all, it has an SPF of 35, which is amazing. It has a beautiful medium coverage or sheer buildable coverage. It covers my redness, which is what matters to me. And it does have, I would say, a natural to radiant finish to it. It doesn't look dry on me throughout the day, but it also doesn't provide me with like the amount of coverage that I like. So even though it works for me for certain occasions, it's not a foundation that I would wear on camera a lot, or if I'm going to go somewhere where I want to look put together. It just doesn't offer me that amount of coverage that I feel comfortable with that. It's just going to always be a foundation for the no makeup looks, or just days where you want to look extremely natural, which for me is not that often. I want to look more put together than natural, if that makes sense. It is a wonderful foundation. I love that it has an SPF of 35, and this is actually a great foundation for the summertime, which is when I tried it, and so I did get quite a lot of views out of it back then. But now that we are kind of in winter and like holiday mode, it's not a foundation that I'm reaching for that often because it's more of a summertime foundation. I just finished the group of foundations that I like, but I have to make accommodations for, and we're moving on to the group of foundations that I really like, but they don't blow my mind. You know, I really like these, but they're not the best of the best that I tried this year. Starting with this one right here, the Dior Forever Skin Glow Foundation, which was reformulated and relaunched at the beginning of this year. And I honestly like this foundation okay. It was pretty consistent. I don't think it gave me a lot of texture. It definitely didn't dry me out. It also didn't show my pores that much. It was like a good standard foundation. The only reason it's not like the best of the best that I tried is because I do find that it could sometimes maybe look a little thicker on my face than I would prefer. I like foundations that look a little bit thinner, which make me look a bit more natural and like I'm wearing less makeup, but still give me the same amount of coverage that this one does. So just that it's a bit too thick on my face would be the only thing that I could possibly have against it. Other than that, it was a really nice foundation. Also a foundation that wears really beautifully throughout the day. It literally does not change. You put it on and it looks the exact same way 10 hours later. The next one I'm going to mention is the Makeup Forever HD Skin Foundation, which was also reformulated and relaunched this year. And I have a very similar experience with this one. It looks nice, it looks natural, it covers enough, it doesn't enhance my pores, it doesn't enhance my texture. Things look good with this foundation. My only issue with it is I just wish it was a bit thinner. The foundation that they were replacing with this formula was a bit thinner, but I had different difficulties with that one. I actually like this formula better than the formula that it replaced, but that one was thinner, and the only thing I have against this one is that it's not thin enough for me. But honestly, beautiful foundation. It wears nicely and very natural looking throughout the day. This next foundation I also really liked, and it's not a foundation that was brand new this year, but I just tried it for the first time this year, and so I'm including it in this video, and that is the Chantecaille foundation. This is called the Future Skin Foundation from Chantecaille. There was a lot of buzz about this foundation when the new season of Euphoria came out, and Chantecaille reached out and sent it my way, and I tried it in a video, and I actually really like this foundation. I find it to be very customizable. Like, you can get a very sheer coverage with this one. You can build it up to a sheer to medium, high side of medium coverage. I don't think you can get it all the way to a full, but basically the more you apply, the more coverage you get, and it looks really beautiful. at any stage you want to leave it at. It doesn't enhance my texture, it doesn't dry me out, it looks extremely natural on my face. I don't actually have anything bad to say about this one at all. I really liked it. Well, I guess I would have preferred a pump, but other than that, I really do like this foundation. I just like the rest of the ones that I'm about to mention a little bit better. The rest of these make me a bit more excited. I haven't mentioned places of any of the foundations I just talked about, because that sometimes when I'm filming can be a lot to keep track of. But the Chantecaille foundation I just talked about was my 9th favorite foundation this year. So let's talk about the 8th favorite foundation this year next. I feel like since I'm getting to the ones that I like the most, it's time to start talking about, you know, place in the ranking. Okay. So this one right here is my 8th favorite foundation of 2022, and this is the Patrick Ta foundation. It breaks my heart every time I open mine because it is so freaking broken and I never replaced it, so I guess I'm stuck with this right now. Anyways, the powder is pretty good. I do actually like the powder and I do use it every time I wear this cream foundation, but the cream foundation is definitely what I like most from this compact. This cream foundation from Patrick Ta is also very customizable. You can get a medium or medium to full coverage with it. It looks extremely natural on the face. It has this really stunning glowy finish to it. For a cream foundation, I find it to be nice and thin. It doesn't dry my skin out. It doesn't enhance my pores. It looks very natural, and I really love the convenience of this foundation being in a compact. I like the convenience of having the powder right next to it, even though mine is broken, and it wears really beautiful on my dry skin throughout the day. I know that this foundation was all over the place when it came to reviews. Some people hated it, some people loved it. I was one of the ones who absolutely loved it. I think I saw Tara Lynn talk about it too. She also loved it, and she has combination skin. Her skin is not as dry as mine, so for reference, if you have dry skin or combination skin, it might work for you. I really love the convenience of the foundation being in a compact. You could just grab it with a brush or a sponge and apply it, and I do think that it looks absolutely beautiful and natural on the face, so I do recommend this one. And so this is the foundation in the 8th spot for me. The only reason it's not higher in the ranking is because the ones ahead of this one excite me a little bit more, because I did try some really good foundations this year, which was incredible. The next foundation I'm going to talk about, I tried this year, but I have no idea when it came out. It could have been at the beginning of the year, or it could have been years ago, really not sure. But I did really like it, which is what matters most. And so this is my foundation in the 7th spot, the Sicily Fido Tint Ultra Eclat foundation. This foundation looks so natural on the skin. It has this like water texture to it, which just blurs out your pores, and it looks good on the skin. It has a beautiful medium coverage to it. It has a semi-matte finish, I would say, so it just looks like skin, okay? It has really good coverage. I would say this is a full coverage foundation. Even though it has a thin texture to it, I find that it covers quite a lot and you can build it up. I love the texture of this one. It is a fully oil-free foundation, so be careful what you mix it with, because if you mix it with the wrong primer, I feel like she could be a little bit finicky. But if you mix it with the right stuff, you are absolutely going to love this one. I think I've loved it the most when I put it just on top of my Magic Cream. You don't have to necessarily have a primer for this one. I feel like it hides my pores on its own, so it's not like I need a pore filling primer with it. Anyways, absolutely loved this Fido Tint Ultra Eclat foundation from Sicily, and I highly recommend it. Okay, so with that Sicily foundation, I end my batch of foundations that I really did quite like, but they weren't the best of the best, okay? And so my top 6 foundations I tried this year are actually the best of the best, my most recommended. These 6 foundations I'm going to talk about next are foundations that have become staples for me in my collection that I can't live without. I reach for them all the time. I have them in rotation. And so yeah, let's talk about them. In my 6th spot, and This isn't necessarily a foundation, but you could use it as a foundation, and so I put it in this video. I have the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Balm. This has become a total staple for me, and I use it almost every single day. This has a beautiful sheer to medium coverage in it, and so I love to use it on my no makeup days or as my primer underneath my foundation. I mainly use it as my primer underneath my foundation, but like I said, it can be a foundation too. I don't necessarily have to put a foundation over it. Anyways, this Yummy Skin Balm, I've been using it since it first came out. As you can see, you need very little of it because I barely made a dent and I use it almost every day. In fact, I'm wearing it today underneath the foundation I'm wearing. This Yummy Skin Balm is amazing because it fills in my pores. It gives me coverage. That coverage fully covers the redness on my face. It evens out my skin's texture and it just looks so natural without looking matte, without creating texture, without separating any foundation I've combined it with. It works with. Anyways, I love this thing. The main uses I give it are definitely either on its own or underneath my foundation. And it's just one of the best products I tried in 2022. It's such an innovative product as well. All right, top 5 foundations of 2022. At number 5, I have this compact right here from M Cosmetics. This is the M Cosmetics Cushion Compact. And when I tell you I am obsessed with this thing, I am obsessed with this thing, okay? It is so good. It has the most beautiful full coverage. It's like a very high medium coverage. It looks so smooth on the face. It hydrates. It has an SPF of 50, which makes it great for the summertime, but honestly you can use this one year round. A con for this product would be that they need to make more shades of it because it does have quite a bit of coverage, so I don't think that the few shades they have available would encompass everyone, but this is such an amazing product. This was my most used complexion product during the springtime. I took this one with me when I went on my trip to Spain and I wore it every single day. I love that it had SPF in it, so it was keeping me protected from the sun, and it just looked fantastic. So natural looking, so easy to apply, so easy to carry with you on a trip because this occupies no space in your luggage. Just an amazing, amazing product from M Cosmetics, and I'm so glad that I tried M Cosmetics this year. If I had awards here on my channel, M Cosmetics would win the award to the best brand I discovered in 2022. I knew of its existence, by the way, but I just never tried it before this year, and I love it. I love it. I love it. So highly recommend their Cushion Compact, one of my all-time favorite products I tried this year. And at number 4, I have another tinted type product that stole the show, stole my heart, and I cannot put it down. And that is this one right here, the Rare Beauty Skin Tint. Now, here's what's truly special about this one. I have yet to hear about someone who hates it. If you hate this product, if you bought it and you hate it, let us know down in the comment section, because every single person that I see talk about this product, every single person that I saw review this product, it didn't matter if they were oily, dry, combination, normal skin, literally it didn't matter the skin type, it didn't matter the skin tone, everyone freaking loved this one. Like, the only thing I might have heard was maybe it doesn't have as much coverage as I'd like, because it does have a medium coverage, not a full coverage. But other than that, every single person I saw talk about this skin tint absolutely loved it, including me. I love this product. It is buildable, it is blendable, it is thin, it has a natural to radiant finish, it doesn't enhance your pores, it lays beautifully thin and natural looking on the face, it doesn't create any texture, it doesn't dry me out, it is just a perfect product. It looks so good all throughout the day, wears so well. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, and I highly recommend it. The only reason it's number 4 and not, let's say, number 1 or 2 is because it's more of a natural everyday product, and the 3 products I have ahead of this one are a bit more full coverage, a bit more glam, and so that makes me a bit more excited, and so I have put them in front of the Rare Beauty tint. But this is definitely one of the best products I tried this year. It is so bomb. so bomb, highly recommended. At number 3, I have a product that makes me very excited because a full coverage matte finish foundation is not something that I can usually wear. When a foundation is matte finish with a full coverage, it usually looks cakey on me or dry on me, or it gives me texture. And so therefore that category of foundation is not something that I have access to all the time. But the Armani Power Fabric Foundation, which was reformulated this year, gave me hope, you know? This is a foundation that is a matte finish foundation with a full coverage, and my dry skin for some reason loves it. This is not too drying, it doesn't give me texture, it doesn't enhance my pores, it looks so natural on my skin. It lasts for so many hours. It gives me this beautiful matte look with this fantastic full coverage, very glamorous foundation. I really love it. If you struggle to find a full coverage matte finish foundation that works for your skin, definitely give this one a try. I promise you it is not a drying foundation at all. It has a beautiful finish and my favorite thing, a very thin texture, which is, I'm pretty sure, why it works for me. Usually matte finish full coverage foundations have a thicker consistency to them that tend to look cakey on my very dry skin, but this one doesn't. This one looks great and I highly recommend it. I could not believe when I tried this Armani foundation a few months ago how good it was for my dry skin, it having the properties that it has, you know? So honestly, I really love it and it totally deserves the 3rd spot in my foundation roundup for 2022. At number 2, my silver medalist this year is this one right here from Lancome. This is the new Lancome Tint Idol Ultra Wear Foundation Care and Glow. This foundation has a glowy finish. It has good skincare ingredients in it. It has a medium buildable to full coverage. It is a perfect foundation. This is another one of those products that everyone I've heard talk about it loves it. My friend Johnny Ross, who has combination skin and usually likes foundations that are very different from the ones I liked, he was one of the ones that was raving about the House Labs foundation, and I do not like it at all, but he has combination skin and he loved it. Well, he told me he loved this one even more, and this one does work for me and my dry skin, but it also works for him and his combination skin. It is just such a natural looking foundation. It has a beautiful creamy but also thin coverage all at the same time. It looks beautiful around my dry areas. It looks smooth everywhere on my face. It doesn't break apart. It lasts for hours and hours and hours on my skin. It is such a good long wearing foundation. I definitely have my summer color, so I haven't been able to wear it as of lately because I need a lighter shade for the winter. But this foundation totally stole the show. It almost replaced my Queen Bee foundation here, but it couldn't quite replace it. Maybe only because I have the wrong color actually, because I do love the formula so much. Anyways, this foundation I highly recommend, okay? Totally one of the best foundation releases of 2022. It makes my skin look so good. I love it. So finally, my gold medalist this year, my number 1, my ride or die, a foundation that as soon as I tried it became one of my top foundations in my collection. The number 1, the Chanel foundation. This came out, I believe it was in January last year, and I immediately had to compare it with my Pat McGrath foundation, which is another foundation that I really love, because it reminded me so much of it, okay? It has a beautiful medium buildable coverage. It has a fantastic natural finish. It is a very thin foundation, so it doesn't create any texture. It doesn't enhance any pores. It doesn't break apart on my face. I can put it on with any primer I like and it looks fantastic. Like I said, I've had it since January, and you can see back here how much I've used it already because I have not been able to put this foundation down. It is that good, okay? Let me think, what else can I say about it, because it is just a 10 out of 10 perfect foundation. It wears beautifully throughout the day. It looks good with anything I put on top of it. It does not budge. I don't know, it's just a 10 out of 10 perfect foundation. Also a foundation that I have heard a lot of people rave about, so it's not just me that loves it. It has become a favorite in a lot of people's collections because it is a fantastic foundation. So I do think that if you have normal, dry combination skin, even oily skin, you might love this one because it's not a glowy finish foundation. It has a natural finish to it and it is going to look super natural on everyone's skin. So highly recommended. My number one favorite foundation this year is the Chanel number 1, and I promise you, if you try it, you are going to fall head over heels in love with it because it is that good. All right, I was so nervous before I started filming this video because I was like, that is a lot to cover. It's been a while since I used some of these, so what did they look like? I don't remember, but just kidding. I was able to remember everything that was wrong or right with all of these. But like I said, if you want an even more in-depth explanation of why they are where they are, definitely check out the review video so that you can see up close and personal how it looked, how it wore, and what I noticed throughout the day. Whenever I do foundation reviews, I do a wear test. So yeah, hopefully the little clips that I included in this one helped to see what I was talking about. If you guys like this video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up before you leave. Definitely very appreciated. Let me know down in the comment section what your favorite foundation you tried in 2022 was, because I'm interested in finding out. What if I haven't tried it? Let me know down in the comment section. I love you guys so much. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe before you leave. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope to see you back in the next one. Bye.